The Reserve Bank of India's governor in an earlier statement that he's made today. First, it is concerning the repo rate. That has remained unchanged at the existing 4% following a 3-day meeting which was done of its 6-member Monetary Policy Committee. The RBI governor, though, has said that there are efforts for economic recovery that has already begun, but it is the second wave of COVID-19 cases which is posing a huge impediment. Why? Because several cities, districts, areas in certain cities here have continued to remain in lockdown. In several cities, lockdown has come back because of the second wave here, which is now posing an impediment to all efforts as far as economic recovery is concerned. Some big takeaways here on all that has been stated by the RBI governor. Let's first take a listen in to his statement.
Unanimously to leave the policy repo rate unchanged at 4%. The marginal standing facility rate and the bank rate remain unchanged at 4.25%. The reverse repo rate also stands unchanged at 3.35%. In the MPC's assessment, global economic activity has remained fragile and in retrenchment in the first half of 2020. The MPC noted that in India too, economic activity had started to recover from the lows of April and May. However, surges of fresh infections have forced reclamping of lockdowns in several cities and states.
Let's get in further inputs. Our news editor Avni Raja with those details here. Avni, as far as what has been stated, it's all looking grim. It's not just a struggle for the economic revival efforts. It's also inflation, which is continued, which is likely, in fact, to remain at elevated levels as well.
Yes, absolutely, Seher. It's clearly not going to be smooth sailing as far as the economic recovery is concerned. Like very clearly, the RBI governor pointed out that we had seen some amount of recovery, the process sort of beginning, and then we saw this fresh surge, second wave of COVID cases coming out in several different places across the country, which then saw, the lockdown come into effect again in some cities and states, and that could be a threat as far as revival is concerned. He's also pointed out that things like supply chain disruptions are still continuing in several areas, and that is something that also needs to be ironed out. So that is the other point that the RBI governor has in fact raised. Also talking about the fact that consumer confidence is something that is still very pessimistic as with respect to the consumer confidence survey that the RBI undertook, and that is also another point to note here. As far as the growth itself is concerned, the RBI governor said GDP contraction is likely for this year, this financial year, and of course refrained from giving any kind of a number, as even the last time in the last policy also the governor refused to give out any sort of a number except the fact that we are going to be in the negative territory going ahead. So clearly it's not looking good at this point in time, but some ray of hope coming in when the governor mentioned that the rural economy is is recovering well, and that could be a ray of light going forward, Seher.
All right, Avni, thank you for getting us the inputs, the big takeaways here from the RBI governor.